Dalit, I guess we might as well just go over again quickly. Okay, we're in
Summation.
Simin Ein Hey, section 75, subsection 4. Yeah, we'll go just through the Mechaber and the Ramah quickly, just so we remember what the general thing was. So Kafar Bakel ve'idim idim shechayiv lechamishim yishal chamishim mish v'manatei al shor. So if he denied everything, right? We established before that one who admits to a partial claim is obligated from the Torah to take an oath. One who denied, and one of there's different reasons, but the and what it means, but the main reason is that a person will not have chutzpah before his creditor. There's a difference of opinion between Rashi and others, whether this if it means that because the guy, I think according to Rashi, it's because the guy did him a favor and therefore he wanted the chutzpah, and whereas according to others, it's because he wanted the chutzpah because like you're lying to their face, they know you're lying. So like the guy knows he lent you the money and you're lying straight. You're just lying straight to his face. A person won't have chutzpah, and there's a nafka mina. There's a practical outcome differences to this, because, for example, what if the guy didn't do you a favor? Let's say something like that. So, but he knows you're lying, but he didn't do you a favor, like say by a shamer, by a watchman. Does it apply by a watchman? Where do you say ein amazed he will have the chutzpah, he won't have the chutzpah? Anyway, but by somebody who denies everything, we don't have the same. He's not giving us a reason to suspect because the guy who admits the part of the claim is giving us a reason to suspect, or not giving us, he gives the Torah a reason to suspect. But somebody who denies the whole thing, he does not have to take an oath. However, what if he denies everything, but witnesses come, but they don't say he owes the whole thing. They only witnessed part of it. So the Mechaber says that it's the same thing, basically, the equivalent of made of mitzvahs, of admitting part of it. Only instead of you admitting it, they admit it for you. Why? So hang on a second. This seems weird, right? Because if the whole reason is that you're not going to have chutzpah, but that does not apply to the witnesses. But still, why? Because the admission, his own admission, cannot be. We can't say it's more powerful than the admission of, or than the testimony of witnesses. So the testimony of witnesses is worth at least as much as his admission. The Ramah adds, Agav yeshim davke she'edim idim al pevle bekinyan. That's specifically when it's verbal testimony, but not when they testified that there was meaning that the whole deal was just verbal also. But not if there was a kinyan, not if there was an official acquisition made. Aval im kos v'shtar sheyesh kan kinyan ein ed mechayiv neis yishvo. But if if they wrote a contract where there was a proper acquisition, then the testimony of witnesses on a partial claim do not obligate him an oath. The shtar havi kehilich, because the shtar, a contract, is like hilich. It's like if I came to somebody, right, and meaning he did not bring a claim yet, and I come to him and say, I owe you 50. Here, take the 50 and go. And then he says, wait a second, you owed me 100. So this is not considered a made b'miktzas. And the reason is because we say in the shach, what we explained in short was that that when there is a contract is automatically has a lien on property in it. So since he could have collected on the contract, he could have gone and it's not like you can hide the property from him. The property, like real property, it's there. It's not moving anywhere. So since it was really set before him to be able to collect at any given point, so that's why it's considered like a halach. And v'yesh mishechelik, and some argue that it's not like that. It's not so that even with a shtar or a kinyan, it would still be like might makes us like a partial admission. The Mechaber continues. The author continues. When do we say this? The above, meaning when do we say that the testimony of witnesses is the same like his own admission? Kishetova malve. When this is when when it was regarding a loan. Avlim tovu chafetzim shavim money. But if there was a case where he claimed against him items, you have my items, which are worth 100. And the other one says, I don't have your stuff. And witnesses say, wait, we saw it in your hand. We saw it in your hand at the time that this claim was brought. We saw $50 worth of items. Then we don't say he swears. We don't say he pays the 50 that they testified, and he swears against the rest that he doesn't have it, but rather Huchza Kafran. He's in this case he is assumed to be a liar. He's brought upon himself that he's an assumed liar. But and instead of him swearing, right, and now he can't swear because he's a liar. So therefore the oath goes on to the plaintiff, and he swears.
Right. And like we clarified, it's for this case that we consider him a liar, not for, it doesn't mean he's like,
right. It means against
we can't trust him now for this case for whatever reason.
On this claim, for whatever
he's
reason,
shown that he's shown that he can't be
willing
trusted.
to lie on this case.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So then we had let's go back to let me just see, was this, what did he go after that? No, that's it. That's okay, good. So that's the safe inside. Let's go back to the beginning. So we had the shach who said, no, sorry, it wasn't the shach. It was the sma. Sma, Sifkat 9. So we said that his testimony shouldn't be less than that of Adim. And he just brings that we find in that we know this because we see in various other cases that we see that a witnesses, not necessarily a witness, but that's for sure 2 witnesses, can obligate him what he himself cannot obligate by his admission. Like we know that by a knas, by a fine, right? When it's not I owe you something, like a loan, but rather a fine. I cannot obligate myself through my admission, and you also cannot incriminate yourself, meaning in terms of that I did something that I'm being an evil person. I cannot make myself an evil based on my own testimony.
Can't make yourself
yeah. Then we went
self-flush and harder.
Yeah, exactly. Then we went. Oh, we did more than just one sma, because then we also did one about if there's the Ramah brought that if there's a contract, and the sma brought there. Why? Because a contract has a lien on property, and therefore that's why it's like halif, because like it's like as if I came to you before you even claimed and said, here's your money and go, because it's at the time you brought the claim, it's already really in your, it's like in your property already, because you could have gone and collected on it from the property. Okay, then the shach. Did we do the shach on that? I don't think we did shach. So let's go. That was the sma we did, and now we go to the shach. So he says if they wrote a contract, pedosh, meaning meaning so there's a contract or they say that there was a proper kinyan made, a proper acquisition made. But the borrower is not admitting to that. He's denying that. And the Beis Yosef writes about this. And this does not seem to me. Right? Meaning he doesn't agree that a shtar or a kinyan, that a contract or an acquisition is considered like halach, like take your money and go. The afal gav, and why? The afal gav, that even though the shtar who halach, even though a contract is like a halach, like take your money and go, hainu hecha de moide al masha b'shtar. This is, he's like, Beis Yosef says, hold your horses. You're telling me, oh, shtar's like a halach. You could have collected on the contract. No, you can't. If you have a contract, and I admit that the contract is accurate, I'm not contesting the contract. But what, I don't have the money to pay you. If I tell you, listen, the contract is 100%. I borrowed that money from the contract. I just don't have the money right now. Okay, now you can go collect my property. The Bechihai Gavna made me say the Shar v'Helech, that in this the Shach explains that in this case, in this kind of case, the Beis Yosef would agree that the contract is like Helech. Ukimation is Bor Lekamas and Peiches Seif Chavches Ein Sham, like it explains later on in 88 subsection 28. See there how, so which over there it's talking about when he admits to the that the contract is real. Meaning the defendant is agreeing that it's a real contract. The Beis Yosef mitzayin masha kosav Hagos Mordechai, and the Beis Yosef he underscores what the Hagos Mordechai says. That he says it on about the words of the Rif, that testimony in part of it is like admitting, as if you admitted part of it. V'davke be'edus bal pants, that the Hagos Mordechai wrote, like the Ramah says, that specifically when it's a verbal testimony, right? But like the Ramah said, but not. I guess this must be the opinion that Ramah is bringing, but not by if there was an acquisition or a star. The loika habach, and not like the bach. Shehisig al Beis Yosef, that he how do you say hisig? He questioned the Beis Yosef on the Beis Yosef. That the bach holds that no, it's a star is always like a halach. V'savar shemitzayin l'maylo b'shtar dekomeda, and he holds the Bach the Bach holds that the Beis Yosef is underscoring the Mordechai, the words of the Mordechai above, regarding when it's specifically a contract that he admits that this is a valid contract, meaning he's still accepting the words of the Mordechai that by a contract or a kinyan it would be like halach. But what? But according to the Bach, the Beis Yosef is he holds that according to the Mordechai, we're talking about a star that he admits to is a valid star. Ein Beis Yosef because Mordechai Sham ve'tira shekenu, and if you look in the Beis Yosef and the Mordechai there, you will see that this is so. meaning that how he explains it, how he just explained it, that they're talking about or maybe not. 1 second, because we made sign made. No, so I guess he argues the Mordechai. He holds that the Mordechai. He holds that even if he wasn't made. And you'll see the Bach says the Bach that you'll see that this is how it is, that meaning that they're talking about in a way that that he's not, he doesn't admit that the contract is a real contract, and the Mordechai writes that it's still considered halach, and the Beis Yosef says ain't near it doesn't, no, it doesn't. So he's disagreeing with basically saying the Beis Yosef, according to the Bach, the Beis Yosef is not what's it called? Oh no, sorry, this is the Shach talking now. This is the Shach talking. So the Bach says that the Beis Yosef holds that the Mordechai holds this way. That's what it is. The Shach says no, holds that the Mordechai holds like him, that only when he admitted to the shtar. And now the Shach is saying, it makes it confusing, because he didn't say ad kam l'shoinei. Sometimes they'll say right ein chav lamed ad kam l'shoinei. So you know this was, or he'll say ad kam l'shoinei bach, and then he'll continue. In this case, he just ran straight in. But he's saying that what do you call it, the shabach to, and if you look carefully at the wording of the Beis Yosef, the Mordechai, the Beis Yosef is not explaining the Mordechai. He's arguing on the Mordechai, and the Bach is mistaken here, says the Shach. V'hayesh mi shechelik shekosav harav, those who argue, right? That Ramah just simply said there are those that argue. Let's see, he said, yeah, he only said yesh mi shechelik, and he gave a note where to look about it. So who's the yesh mi shechelik that the Ramah is talking about there? Who? Beis Yosef. So the Shach continues that now that he's explained the Beis Yosef's position, that he argues on the Mordechai, and he says, and in the Ramah, that's the Yesh Mishachelik, that's who argues in the Ramah. That's what the Ramah is talking about. And he brings it in Darkei Meisha. And this is what that the Beis Yosef and the Darkei Meisha wrote it v'ayin baran, and see in the Ran Reish Perek Shavos Layonim, in the beginning of Perek Shavos Layonim, Rotzu Leimar, they want to say the loy potter hasam, right? That is not potter there, meaning when that he's not absolved from an oath. In the case of witnesses, right? If witnesses came and said that he owed part of the claim. Elamishum. Well, why would he be Elamishum Shibud Karkois? Meaning in the case he's talking about by the witnesses, and that they came and said there's yeah, that he's right. He's only so when there's witnesses. When is he absolved? Is only when there's shibud karkois. Only when there's a property lien.
Mm-hmm.
And what, I guess it's like it's like he admitted. It's like if he admitted on property, but denied taking vessels. Like it's like two different things. It's like being that the shibud karkois, I guess it meaning because the shibud karkois is on, meaning he's not saying that the shibud karkois makes it like halach. He's saying that the fact that there is a property lien, it splits the case in two, and meaning that if it didn't split the case in two, he would be obligated to take an oath. But because there's property against part of it, it becomes like a property claim. So now you have one property claim, and you have, right? So like what he's saying is basically is the reason he's not right, because you want to say, oh, we see by star he doesn't, by a contract he doesn't. Why? Because it's like halach, and he's saying no, it's not like it's by halach. It's because if I bring a claim against you, and I say you owe me you owe me an acre of property, right? You owe me an acre of property and a bag of wheat. So if I say, well, yeah, the property I owe you, but the wheat, no, that's not called made b'miktsas. It's not admitting part of a claim. You don't say, oh, you had admitted the property, you admitted part of the claim, so now you have to swear on the wheat. No, that's not made b'miktsas. Because it's two separate things. So the same thing is saying is the part that is what's happened is the part of the claim that the property is covers. So it's being that it's connected to a property lien, it's become like a property claim, and now you've split the case in two, and that's why you don't. That's why the part that a contract is on cannot obligate you to take an oath.
I thought, I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud here. Like it's interesting when you have the whole shibud karka is there's a certain weight to the whole claim, and we see that by the fact that right, that a star automatically causes a shibud karka.
Right.
Well, like, what's stronger, a star or Aiden? Like, well, it's the star. I mean, usually stars are backed up by Aiden, but it's like, yeah, the fact that a star.
It could be, but it could also be that like maybe just in terms of, not necessarily in terms of proving it is a star stronger, but maybe just in terms of making a kinyan it's stronger. Because it makes an acquisition on, a star makes an acquisition on property.
Right, there's a physical thing.
But certainly there is a certain strength that a contract has in that sense.
Right. It's just I'm just saying, like, also, so the fact that also by shibud karka, like, it seems to add weight to any claim. I mean, right now we're talking about claims. It's not so much hilchos shtaris. It's and so it just seems that shibud karka has this connection to add weight to a claim, like it's associated with a stronger claim.
Right.
The fact that here that it's splitting it apart, and I don't know. It's just vibes it's given me.
But right, but yeah. So in either case, the shach says, so from what the Beis Yosef and Darchim Moshe right there, right, that it's because of shibud karkais, it's because of the property lien. So mashma l'cheira, so this is implying at first glance, that if not for the fact that there's the property lien, right, and which kind of splits the case in two, then we would not say it's like a halach. Right. So now the question is, okay, so who cares? What's the? I mean, it's very nice, his reason, their reason, but what's the nafkamina? What's the what difference is there in practical outcome if I say it's like halach, like it's mamish like halach, or no, really it's not like halach. It's just it comes out like a halach, but really it's because of shibud karkais. So the nafkamina, b'makim de leis lekarka. So the nafkamina is going to be, what if the borrower does not own any property? Yeah. Right. That
so
then,
there's no karka for it to be.
Yeah, there's no real property to talk about here. So, which means if that's the case, the contract does not have an immediate meaning it doesn't contain the payment method within it, right? Ella, so then what would be? So then it would depend if he admits to it. Right. Okay. So right. So which means he would, which means in that case he would still have to take a shvua. Unless he has property. The oz potter mishum shibud karkois. Then we would still say that because there's if he has property, then you can say, oh, he can collect on the property, and therefore because of the lien on the property, or because he cannot deny it, the property is like a halach. And like Rashi explained the beginning of Tzia in the first parak, and not because but not because the contract itself is considered like a halach. And so it seems to the shach, the main he holds by this position that it's because of shibud karkais and not because it's mamish like halach. So now he's going to bring umidivri asma sivkot in Yodah Vidalef from what the sma was saying, which we did the sma, right? Nira shehavin, and it seemed, if I recall right, we'll see what he says about it. But if I recall right, the Sma didn't bring this up. I mean, the Sma just said because of Shibud Karkois, it's a halach. It's considered halach. But he seemed to be leaning into that. It's considered halach. Nira shehavin divrei harav. The mighty bishtar. Oh, wait, yeah, the mighty bishtar Shibud Karkois. So it seemed that the Sma understood the words of the Ramah, that he's talking about dafka a star that would obligate a lien on that would have a lien on property. Because if not, why did he say mishum shibud karkois shavi keilach? The l'svar rishayna, meaning that he holds that. What's the argument? The l'svar rishayna havi halach mishum shtar shibud karkois. That he holds it that according to the first svara, it would be like halach, like halach, like take your money and go. Why? Because it's a property that has a property lien. So it's a contract that has a property lien. And he holds that the second opinion argues on this. And meaning he's saying that according to Sma, it sounds like he's holding that the yesh mishachelik, the opinion that differs, holds that even a contract that has a property lien would still not be called like halach. So not like the shach is looking at it, saying the Sma looks like doesn't look at it that way. That the shach is holding that. He's holding that which way that if the right, so yeah, so he holds different. It sounds like he's only holding that I mean, like we just said before, that the yesh mishachelik is not arguing on the he's not arguing on the first one as far as that a shtar doesn't have what's it called? The question is though, if he doesn't have property, then there will be a difference. He doesn't hold it as meaning according to the Shach, he holds that the first opinion holds that a contract is like halach. And the Yesh Chelkim, the second opinion holds no, one time out. A star is not mamish like halach. It's like halach only in terms of that what do you call it? That it has shibud karkois, it has a property lien, and therefore you can collect on it. But the sma, on the other hand, implies like that he's saying that no, that the first opinion holds that even the first opinion holds only when there's a property lien, and the second opinion holds that even if there's a property lien, it still wouldn't be considered like halach. The gam nir midvarav, and furthermore, it seems from the words of the Sma, the bishtar ein chiluk bein meida ilay, that according to him, no difference no difference whether he admitted that the contract is true or not. And this is not so. Like I already wrote in the beginning of this Sifkatan, like you already wrote that the Shach presented his position that the star we're talking about Dafka star that he is admitting is a valid star. Otherwise, why? Because otherwise you can't collect property based on that. If I admit that if I admit that it's a real star, but whatever, I'm not willing to pay you. I don't have the money to pay, whatever the case may be. Okay, you can go collect on it. But until I've admitted that in the star, or alternatively, Beis Din has verified the star, then you can't go and collect property. Then furthermore, the further question he has in the Smad in Cain, that if this is so, meaning that if it's so, like what the Sma holds, that the machlekes is if a star is ever is like a halach or not kosher, then it's hard to understand. The kan kosav arav stay days, that because here the Rama is writing that it's two opinions, right? He writes v'yesh mishachelek. There are those that argue on this. He doesn't even say like v'yesh shemrim, and there are those who say which could possibly be clarifying or not mamish arguing or whatever. The Kamon Reishim and Peizayin Kosovarav. Now later the Ramah writes in 87, if 1, and he writes V'yesh Eimrim, and some say the Mashkin Choshev Halach. Some say that collateral is considered like a Halach. That how do we know this? Because even a contract is considered a halach. So if a contract is considered a halach, which only enables you to collect something of value, so how much more so if you're mamish holding the property already is considered like halach. Umashma the bishtar leikaman the polygon. It sounds like according to the Rama over there, that there's that nobody's arguing on this. That this is what's it called? Meaning, and not that nobody's arguing on the situation there, but it sounds like nobody argues on the fact that a star, because he's using it as proof. What does he use as proof that a mashkin is like a halach, which that they're contesting over there. Meaning that there's two opinions. Is collateral considered halach, like here's your money and go, or it's not considered halach? So, but so the proof that the Ramah uses there to present that opinion is after all a contract is considered halach. So he's presenting that as something irrefutable. Like even you would agree that a contract is considered halach. So certainly it is like I have explained it. That meaning that. If the so long as the defendant is admitting that this is a valid star, right? Then it's fine. Or if it's if there's a property lien in the star, then according to everybody, it's like a halach. Viduk. Okay, so that's that one. Let me see where the next thingy giggy is.
Viduk, am I right in translating Viduk as Nuff said?
Yeah, I think it's like it means like I think it's like it's like Vidal, like Vidal
Right.
Lahavin,
Like Vidai Lemaven.
but Vidal
Right.
Maven is different. It's here. I think it means
Right.
I think it's Vidai the Kal or something like that.
Right.
Like meaning it's a cross between Dai Lahavin and Kal Lahavin. Like it means it's I mean basically it means and clearly based on what I presented, you can see that what I'm saying is correct.
Obvious.
Yeah.
It's obvious.
It's a little bit different than what you like in Hasidus. It usually doesn't say Viduk, it usually says Vidal, but that's because in Hasidus our whole what we're trying to accomplish is simply to know. We're trying to do his beinunus, so it's Vidal Maven. So for the guy doing, or maybe because it's not, maybe because in Hasidus it's Vidal Maven, but it's not necessarily Kal Maven. It's not necessarily easy to understand, but it's enough that you can, and it's Dafka Maven. It's like if you do the his beinunus, then you can understand what I'm saying here. Whereas here it's like Viduk is like, and it's Pashat. It's like it's Pashat based on the logic I've presented here that it is so. Okay. Let me see. Where's the next part? That was Avalim Kosovo. Yud Aleph and Yud Gimel. Okay, so. Oh, okay. So we actually we did one of the smas that the Shach was talking about, but which is really most of it. He only adds a few words to it. He basically had the whole thing in Yud. But Yud Aleph is V'yesh Mishechelik, and there's those who argue. The Ayin Mashkasafti Kan by Gois Darchi Meshe, which is a Gois Dirisha Prisha, or Beprisha. So see what I wrote, what the Smas saying. See what he wrote in his more length Svarim. The Prisha of Smarish and Pezayin, as well as in his Perish of Amir Sinayim on the 87, which the Shach brought up. The Nira Da'adin Imachilkin, that he rules like those who argue, meaning that he holds that even with a kinyan or a star. So based on how the Shach explained him anyway, that means that he holds that a star is not like a halach. And if it's a star and a kinyan, it would be the same thing according to the Sma. Yud Gimel in the Shach, V'yesh Mishachelik. Kosav Asma, which we just did, Ayin Mashkasafti Reishim Pezayin, Dinir Adinim Achilkim, V'aloch Kameis Mad Kanashayim. Right, what we just said. The Tzarich Leimar, the Rotz Leimar, so we have to say that what he means to say, Hachilkim Risha, he just turns the whole Sma over. He must mean to say with the first arguers, not the guys who the Ramah says argue, but rather with the first arguers, meaning with the position that's argued on. The Havi Halach, that the Sma holds that it is a Halach. Commission is better with Sma Lekamas and Peizayin of Kuvyud. The Shtar Havi Halach, being that we see over there, he says that a star is a Halach. Well, if he might appreciate the kind mighty, and according to what I just explained, however, that here it's talking in a way that the defendant does not admit to the shtar. So So, and by the way, I hold the din, says the shach. The din is with the second chelkim, with the second opinion. So before I tell you that I hold by the second opinion, I just want to clarify that the Sma holds by the first opinion.
That's nice of him to keep us, keep us in the loop.
Right. Whereas, if you remember, like what the shach holds, though, that's when he did admit, and when he does admit, according to the shach, everybody holds that it would be like a halach. Shetova malve. When it was, we said, when are we talking about? We said that he was that when the claim is about a loan, that by a loan he swears, whereas if it was by collateral, he's muhsa kafrin. He's assumed to be a liar, and the other guy swears. So shetova malve. Mashma, so it implies from what the Mechaber is saying, the b'milve afilu, right? It's not malve, it's milve, because malve would mean a lender. In this case, he means when it's regarding a loan. Afilu ro eidim biyode, eisen mois atzmon b'shoshe kofar. That even if it implies, right? Why? Because if you look at what the Mechaber says about collateral, the witnesses are coming and saying we saw it in your hand, but by a loan he says that this is by a loan, but not by collateral, only saw it in your hand. So it implies that by a loan he's also talking about where the witnesses came and said they saw the money in his hand, meaning at the time that the claim was taking place, they saw the money in his hand. Well, and in that case, lo yuchzak kafron, he's not considered a liar. Why? The yesh leimar ishtemuti kamashmit. Meaning, like, I think he was holding it back or hiding it. Why? He was hiding it. Why? Because he needed he needed the money for something else, and he was planning on giving it back later. I'm not sure why that doesn't make him a chosek kafir. He's still a liar. But I guess it makes more of a chosek kafir when because the pikadon, right? If I'm holding your item, I'm maybe because of that. But if I'm holding your collateral, I'm not allowed to use it for another thing. So maybe if I was holding it, that means I was trying to steal it from you. So maybe because of that, it's more chosek kafir. Whereas the other guy, it's not like a out and out lie. It's I was just being misleading or whatever because I was gonna pay you later. He doesn't say that. That's me saying that. He doesn't clarify why that one makes him not a chosek kafir and one not. Okay. Avlim tovu chafetzim. So let's look at the sma, I guess. But if the claim was on items and not on loan, right? In which case he's made a kafrin, he's made his chosek kafrin, he's made that we assume he's lying. Hu hadin moishal pikadon. The same law applies to money, right? Meaning it's not that it has meaning the difference is not between money and not money and items. He's clarifying the difference is between a loan and not a loan. Right? Because the same thing, I guess, because based on that theory, that based on what the Shach just said also, that you can't, that he, because if I lend you, if I give you money for collateral for to hold, or as a watchman, right? You're not allowed to go use it for business. By a loan, I'm allowed to use the borrowed money. So I haven't like stolen it from you. I'm just trying to push you out from paying you back. I'm not really looking to deny it. But if it's money that was not loaned to you and you're not allowed to use it, then it comes down the same thing. You're a ganav. You're lying. You're trying to steal my money. So then, why did he say pikadin? He was talking and he was just using the wording with what the common situation is in these cases. That's the common situation. The ma'is min aderech sheneisin eisin biyoda neman lashbichon. Because usually when you're giving somebody money, you're giving it in such a way that he'll not only hold it for you, but also maybe make a profit for you. That he'll put it in a CD or something. He'll put it in an interest-bearing account while he's holding it for you, right? And then it has a different halacha. Why? Because, so I guess that's how it is. Because halacha here is based on the fact that what's making you a huchs kafran is the fact that that you're not allowed to use this money for anything. Like, whereas on the other hand, if I took your money and put it in an interest bearing account, and that's what your intention with that's the common understanding here. So that's why he used the wording of articles, because it's more common for somebody to watch articles that he's not allowed to use or invest or anything like this. Okay, and like I write close to here, and in subsection 14. However, the truth is, if I gave you money and the deal was you're not allowed investment, just hold the, let's say it was gold bars. I don't want you investing my gold bars. My gold bars are an investment on their own investment. So then it's the same thing. So it really depends on, it hinges on if I'm allowed to use it or not. Tesvav in the shach. Tezvav in the shach. Okay, what time is it now? Okay, Tezvav is long, so
Yeah.
So I guess we will continue with Tezvav in the shach, in the Tezvav in the shach. Where's oh, here? It's my phone. I'll send in a message.
Have it.
Yeah, so we're holding where we're going to be picking up from Siman 75. Safe SK SK 15 shach. All right, let me just I'm gonna